Yo, Star Express got again. I think story number 11's video need a follow-up. So I'm going to share some pertinent details about the Totem Power Pole of the Tri-Stone era and why this story is the first one I want published, the first one I want released, the first one I want people to look into. So, like I said in the last video, the opening summary tells you about Roulette and how she gets a second chance at life. So she's been patiently waiting in limbo for the clone to be made again and again and again until she can perfect the escape plan and get out so she can go find her grandparents, if I can talk right. So in this instance, this tells you that the supernatural includes the afterlife. I'll say this much. So you know how in a lot of cases, cloning can happen and whatnot because, real life and everything that revolves around it. But in this world, the super beings begin with this serum, and the serum comes later on in the story, but at the same time the supernatural, the ghost and whatnot, they can still experience everything. So you have the ghost and you have humans. That's it, spirits and humans. When Solomon perfected the cloning process, he was able to put two and two together to figure out the secret to life, and he calls it the push of life. So when he figured out that each vessel has a serial number, he knows that when he does it, when the spirit comes back to the body, it's supposed to connect like that. It's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be 100% correct, right? Well, in this situation, because Roulette and Amarel looks the same, they can bypass the system, the law of nature. So say that Roulette was still alive, Amarel didn't die at the same time, and Roulette was waiting. Amarel passed out, where she lost consciousness and she died for a certain amount of time, and during that time Roulette's spirit can come and possess the body. So in limbo, Roulette's spirit learned how to do full possession because of the spirits that were in the afterlife that were trying to help her because of the situation with them knowing what the Travato group is doing. And they made it so that Roulette was possessing Amarel's body every time it was cloned, and every time it was cloned it would come out as Roulette, and Roulette couldn't get past Solomon's questions and whatnot. So he would just simply put the clone to sleep, make it painless, get rid of the vessel. And the last time she did it, she was able to get out, get all the way back up to the Wofford area of South Carolina, because like I said in the past video, Fair City is located north of Myrtle Beach. So she gets up there, none of her family is around, none of her friends are around, so she ends up coming back to Fair City, where she died at originally. And that's when she meets Maxim. Maxim sees her one day in the alley during a rainstorm while he's running over somebody's house. They meet. It's the connection, love at first sight kind of connection. They look into each other's eyes. Roulette gets from underneath the tarp, and then whoop-de-woo and all of this stuff. So that's the, I guess the first instance of the supernatural dealing with the spirits and whatnot. Now later on in the story, the serum, when it comes around, it's because of a white branch of the U.S. government, with them being secret agents and whatnot. So you have a kid that is the son of a woman that works in that white branch government, and they are in charge of dealing with the serum. Now, a couple of the other kids have parents in the FBI, scientists, some other people and whatnot. But this kid, he learns about the serum because his mother feels like she can trust him, so she just tells him information about certain things and whatnot, projects that they're working on, because he's planning on going into the Secret Service as well. So you have this high school student who know all of this information about the serum. Damn, I need some syrup. But he gets access to the serum and then replicates the serum with stem cells. So the serum is initially this messed up protein vitamin that is just super powerful by itself, right? That's one. The second part of it is nanotechnology, and this nanotechnology serves as a catalyst of forever making a human vessel lively. So you remember that, if you know about that Futurama episode about the worms in that sandwich that Fry got from the vending machine, and how he became all strong and shit and smart and whatnot. That's what the technology does, the nanotechnology. And then the third part is some kind of substance that prolongs human life, and the combination of these things make up this serum that essentially turns a human into a superhuman. So with the nanotechnology rendering every cell of the human body to be super, the other two components are acting as vital essence to keep the person alive, to keep them afloat, to keep them strong, to keep them unnecessarily super. So this serum it acts like an anti-apocalyptic serum. So if something bad happens and, the human scientists want the human race to last forever, right? So when the scientists were making it, they made it so that if some kind of messed up alien substance from outer space comes around, gets on a planet, the humans can survive from it. The humans can survive from a zombie apocalypse. Can survive if the ozone layer disappears. The way that they made it is to survive no matter what. But they didn't realize that when they made the serum, that it was gonna make people into actual super beings and whatnot. So it unlocks some kind of code in human DNA to give them superpowers and things like that. But it's all level 1. Now in this story, when people choose to be warriors, they become automatically strong. So you have all these kids. You have Rolette, the initial kid, who comes back from the dead by fully possessing somebody's clone body that's supposedly Amarel's because of the human serial code thing that Solomon figured out during the cloning process. And then you have Rolette growing up being a warrior, and then you have Rolette eventually getting the serum. So the combination of those three things makes them super beings. Everybody else, they're different, but at the same time, everybody else is powerful. Rolette has will that was generated from the way that she was raised. She is not a joke, and I say that because you know how people create their stories with their archetypes and whatnot. So you have like a pure character, not so pure, chaotic, whoop-de-woo and whatnot, and they fit all of these categories. I don't do none of that. All my characters are powerful. Rolette comes from a very peaceful family, but at the same time, they raise their kids to be respectful, strong, willing, academically influenced, and culturally accepted. All in all, worldly. So, with everybody being raised like that, they eventually become warriors. So Rolette was traveling all around the world, picking up martial arts skills from all kinds of people, which brings in the character Liang Rong. Liang Rong is the top of the human weapon list in this story. Can really be defeated unless it's by somebody else on that list. And in this case, when a story pops off, all of the teenagers are contenders to be on that list when they grow older. There are some people in the Travato group that are close to being on that list, like Zenos, horribly close. The actual master of the Travato group is on that list. One of Garland's best senseis is on the list. Anyaz, several other people. Vang Manhattan learned something from somebody on that list. But some of them, they generated like a rapport with certain martial artists their whole life and whatnot. And then you have Idopia, aka Io, and Dylan, who are also related. They're some of the twin cousins, and they are descendants of Cole Loss, who is on the top 25 list. Gong and Miharu, both of their fathers are on that list, and they run martial art businesses around the whole globe and whatnot. Equian, unfortunately, is not on that list, but with them being already top 25 capable, if they were to get that serum, superpowers would definitely exist on that planet, in this world. So you have these teens who have access to the serum, right? They don't know the full capabilities of it. They just know that the initial injection of it is painful and tiring. Overnight, wake up in the morning, brand new person. To an extent. Now it takes a while for the body to generate the muscles and whatnot. And a normal person, these kids, they've been traveling around the world doing gymnastics, doing ninja classes, Krav Maga, all kinds of crap, right? Then you have Garland, the blue-haired girl. She has been diving into martial arts her whole life, right? So she done won tournaments at the age of 7 on up. She just out there whooping other kids' asses left and right. Craig has a crush on her, alright? Craig ain't shit. Craig has been following Garland since she was a kid. Since they've been kids, he been all up in her business, and he just loves the fact that Garland be out there whooping ass, and she is not a joke. Garland's whole life revolves around her martial arts, her friends, her parents, her triplet siblings, and then when the story kicks off, it's going to be the Dog Street gang, alright? And then once she meets the Dog Street gang, just everything blows up. So you have Garland meeting Maxim Rolette, Equian, Craig, Xenia, Repets, Redino, Io, Ballsy, and Ihili. I think that's the initial Dog Street gang. And those kids know the kid that's the son of the woman that works at the white government branch, and that would be Archer. And Archer is he knows mostly everybody from Repets, Redino, O'Cool is in the original game too, Maxim, Craig, and Xenia's junior high school. They've had the serum in their system since junior high. Everybody else doesn't get it until high school comes along, and all of the schools combine at their high school, and everybody meets everybody. But Garland comes from a rich family. She's supposed to be in a private school. She said screw that. She wanted to meet more fighters, people with that kind of heart, the tiger in their eye. and she wasn't meeting anybody like that in private school. So she made it so that she could go to public school, and only one of her friends joined her, and that would be Josephina. And Josephina has the same kind of wish. She wants to meet people with that tiger in her eye, that want to win, that want to compete. And she's a cheerleader. She's been cheerleading since yay tall, and she builds a team called the Z Squad. And guess who's on it? Archer. And Archer's the one with the access to the serum. So Archer started getting everybody their serum, and since it can't be seen without certain glasses that only certain agencies have access to, which would be CIA, Interpol, stuff like that, and the FBI. And they don't figure it out until later on in the story. It's a damn mess. But these kids are super powerful for no fucking reason, when they shouldn't be as powerful as they are. So this serum is making them all a class of their own. And since they all grouped up at one high school, all get along, Archer starts giving everybody the serum. Oh boy, right? Shit is horrible. And the last thing they ever wanted was for anybody with the serum to get anybody else pregnant. So that's a storyline that's gonna come up in the second part of the trilogy. But the superpowers, they don't come along until like much later on in the Tri-Stone era. Like is visually almost there, because you know how when the fighting games were coming out on PlayStation 1, and you know you would hit somebody and an orb will come up. If you hit them while they block, a different orb will come up. Some people had different orbs for how powerful their moves were and shit. And in this case, in this story, that's what it's going to look like. It's going to look like a bunch of orbitals being manifested through energy with what they touch while they're in physical combat. So the bottom of the Totem Power Pole in the Tri-Stone era is remixed because of that. They don't start developing superpowers until they actually realize what the serum does. And the serum changes their entire DNA, but it can't be seen unless it's using the technology that caught the that was brought up with the serum during its development. But I just wanted to say some things like that, since I didn't really touch on it in the first video. So this will be the follow-up, just talking about how powerful the characters are. So whenever I do publish it, I hope you pick it up. Alright, I'm gonna be working on it. I still gotta find a graphic illustrator. If not, I just have to make the time to do it myself. But the first part of the trilogy is already done. I think I'm on chapter 3 of the second part of the trilogy, and the third part of the trilogy will be the easiest part to write, because that's the part where the actual events of the bouncer takes place. So the third part will be more like the movie, and then the aftermath of after blowing up a lot of places on the surface of the planet. But I think it's entertaining. That one storyline goes with the whole dance floor epidemics on national television, the cheerleading worlds competition that Josephina forces the Dog Street gang to get into, the death of a certain few characters, then the cloning of those characters, everybody's upbringing. Roulette comes from an upper middle class upbringing. Maxim comes from a rich upbringing. Garland does too. Rapetz and Radino, kind of. Their parents are they make a lot of money. The father is one of the directors of the FBI. The mother is undercover. Um, then you have others who are not so much. Ahili got lucky because Ballsy comes from the Cavassier family, and the Cavassiers took in her father when they were young and whatnot, way back in the day. Uh, Ahili and Ballsy's fathers were best friends, and then their daughters ended up best friends. And then when Ahili's father dies, she quits gymnastics, and that's when she gets into regular public schooling. Some things like that. Equion is one of the gay characters. Both of his parents are gay. They got together purposely, and so they can make a child when they were in their prime. And then Equion comes all the way from Hawaii to Fair City to finish out high school because his father got one of the best coaching gigs that he could possibly get at that time, which would give him like a 6-digit salary. Craig comes from an upper middle class family. Xenia comes from an upper class family. Both her parents are scientists, and they happen to be scientists for the Travado group. Yes, good times, right? A lot of things connect. And the bad thing about Xenia is she is the goth character within. Well, her and Repets are the goth characters, but Xenia is more goth because she wears more dark colors and shit. And for some odd reason, I forgot the ability to talk. But Xenia, she has a condition that was fixed when the serum hit her system, but she has been too far out of gymnastics to get back in by that point. But they used to call her the queen of the beam back when she was in her prime, and I really remember those days too. But Xenia was in the middle of doing a layout on a balance beam. 4 flips, alright, the old days when gymnastics was really true. But she was in the middle of doing it, and then that's when that condition hit, and everybody could see it. Her skin turned pale green. She couldn't move. She had to get down on the beam, and then that's when everybody rushed to her and whatnot. So when the league figured out that she had the condition, she was no longer able to practice gymnastics. That's the last thing they need to happen is for that to happen in the middle of something. She actually breaks her neck. But Xenia loathes her parents because of their condition, and I can't wait to do it. It's gonna be fucking hilarious. And the animated series, Xenia's hate for her parents is going to be some of the most hilarious stuff I write out. Can't wait. But it's been a long time on this video, so I'm gonna do.